You're listening to Ask When, the podcast. Folks from all walks of life talk about their daily hustle and bustle, living and celebrating life, sharing tips on becoming champions, especially for those who are muscling mental and physical disabilities. Ask When, the podcast, with your host, who has mustered over 30 years living with cerebral palsy and going strong, author and cerebral palsy advocate Wynn Charles. Ask When, the podcast starts right now.
Welcome to Ask When, everyone. Today I have Jessica with me, and before I bring Jessica in, I just want to make a quick programming announcement. Because of everything that's going on right now, and because we're all on the struggle bus together, if you guys are late, just let myself or Danielle know, because when this is my full-time job now, so I don't care. I mean, being on time right now is a little bit difficult for everyone because of the circumstances at hand. So I just wanted to give you guys the space and grace to really understand that I understand what's going on. And if the kids are doing homework, the kids are doing homework. So for those of you that have booked in the fields, um, you don't have to worry about being as punctual as without these circumstances, if that makes sense. But enough of my PSA. I'm going to let Jessica take it away.
Hi, thanks, Wynn. I'm happy to be chatting with you today. So I'm Jessie Coan. A little bit about me. I'm formerly a VP of marketing at a number of different tech companies located here in the Boston area. And I actually, earlier this year, 2020 is the year of change. So I started my own marketing agency. So I've always wanted to be my own boss, and took this opportunity to kind of rethink what I was doing and really stick to my passions, which I know it sounds like you've done as I've listened to your podcast too. So I'm helping all kinds of businesses figure out how to get found and do marketing better and be able to think strategically about who they're working with and who they're trying to target and all of that. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
So I have a question for you, Jessica. Why did you leave the corporate world? Why did you kick the bucket on golden chains? And yes, I kicked the bucket on golden chains of the corporate world.
That's a great question. So I think for me, I'm always been somebody who is curious and thinking about what's next and looking for new challenges. And my career has been that I've been able to, every time I get itchy in a job, I say, okay, what can I do to make this different? What can I make it better? What can I do that will interest me? And I think for me, leaving the corporate world in terms of working with inside a company, um, I was ready for a new challenge, and I was ready to kind of spread my brain a little bit more, thinking about um, working with different clients and working at an agency and be able to work within different types of industries, corporate high tech marketing. Um, I've been so lucky with some of the companies I've worked with. I've had really great experiences. And I think for me, the big one was I'm doing a lot of work now with some nonprofits and some purpose driven companies and much smaller companies. And then different kinds of larger companies that are doing, I've had a big database company as a client. I've had some law firms as clients. So, the breadth of people I get to work with was really what was driving me to kind of look elsewhere and make a change.
Yeah. So, okay, with everything going on Facebook right now, Facebook is saturated with
Hmm.
the news about coronavirus. And so, Jessica, this wasn't part of my baseline questions, but I'm
It's
asking
okay.
you anyway. Uh, so, where, how, in a time of business pivoting, how do we get ourselves seen, so to speak, on Facebook? Because a lot of a lot of business owners and a lot of employees got laid off their W-2 jobs, like
Hmm.
myself. And so now we are all of a sea of entrepreneurs, and we're just trying to make best of a bad situation. And so, from a marketing standpoint, is Facebook the way to go, or is Pinterest the way to go? I've been told that Pinterest is the next Google.
Interesting. So that's a very timely question, and it's one I get asked frequently. With and this is the marketer's favorite answer to it is it depends, but let me clarify that. So part of what everybody's looking for right now, we're about a month into this pandemic and having people deal with jobs and finding work and connecting. We're all looking to make connections and be human with one another is the best way that I can describe it. The idea of a lot of people will talk about being authentic and being your authentic self. And, I think that in conjunction with putting out interesting content, asking people to have a conversation, and, for lack of a better term, but a lot of networking. Hey, tell me what you do for work, or hey, I'm thinking about this. Can I get your opinion on it?
Yeah,
um, those types of conversations can lead to finding work down the road. I'll give you a really timely example. I have been doing I love skincare and makeup, and I've made a big shift in my life to move towards cruelty-free products. And I have a good friend who has a good friend who has a makeup business and that I've known about for a long time. And finally, we've talked about it. And I said, hey, she called me a couple days ago and said, hey, my friend might need some help. And it's not marketing work, but it's, high level, research and helping her figure out some things. And I was top of mind because I had expressed interest in this area and I, was chatting with her and we were able to have a conversation and I have an opportunity to potentially do a project. So I think Facebook leads to us to be able to communicate, obviously in a positive manner. To answer your second question about Pinterest, I've also heard that Pinterest is getting is having another moment right now. So I don't know. I have a lot of social media friends who do paid media and ads on these platforms, and I'm hearing good things about Pinterest. I have not tried it myself, but it's on my short list of things to investigate. So for your listeners, if somebody wants to get in early and try some marketing, Pinterest might be an interesting
yeah,
place to try because you can get nice and targeted.
yeah, you can. But that leads me to my next question. If you had to move and only take 5 things with you, what would they be? For the exception of your family.
At the exception of my family, what would be 5 things or 3 things that I would take with me if I were going to move?
Yeah,
Um, I would have to say my Kindle. I'm a voracious reader, so hopefully wherever I'm moving to, They have internet and I can download books. Um, I would have to say, um, I would have that's a great question. It would probably be my kitchen knives because I love to cook as well. And everyone, somebody who likes to cook, you're going to take your kitchen knives with you because you've broken them in. They know how to work really well. Um, the last thing I would say is I have this wonderful array of plants in my house, and there's a couple of them that just bring me a lot of joy. And I probably would have to take one or two of those with me. Does that count?
Yes, the plants count. The plants count.
They keep
And
the air
so it's
clean.
and clean. They actually clean the air. Plants are actually good for you guys. They actually bring out the negative ions and make us happy.
Yeah.
Make us happy looking at them. So yes, the plants count. But if your best friend was going to write a book about you, who, what would the title be?
There would definitely be a swear word in it. It would be like getting bleep done. I'll leave it there. I'm somebody who I know how to problem solve, and I'm a project manager, and I think that's one of the things that is one of my superpowers as well. So whether we're going on vacation or we're doing a house project or it's a project for work, I know how to get things done. But it would be a swear word, but I'll keep it clean for you.
Yes, I understand that swear word. And so, yep, yep, because you're like me, Jessica. When there's a problem, we fix it before it turns into a big problem.
Hmm.
So, yep. And what is your favorite book and what is the title?
My favorite book is called The Power of One. I don't remember what year it came out. It's by a guy named Bryce Courtney. It's also a movie that came out in the late 80s, early 90s. But the book is incredible. It's about this kid who is growing up in South Africa and how he turns into a boxer and he runs into some issues with some Nazis and how he overcomes a lot of these challenges in his life. And I think I've read it about 15 times since I was a kid. It's like it has a little bit of everything in it: love and action and mystery and horror. And I just love it. I recommend it to everybody.
So, you guys, I would recommend you go find Power of One. And I know that libraries are closed right now. And the libraries are using Libby. They're also using Overdrive
Hmm.
as their two primary systems. And I know that Audible is giving a discount. I know that Kindle Ultimate is also giving a discount. So go find a Power of One. Also, go find my book, I Come a Win, if you choose to do so, because that would give you a different perspective on how I overcame cerebral palsy. And so, Jessica, The Power of One is your favorite book. And now, what is your morning routine?
My morning routine. So usually I'm an early morning person. So I get up, I'm usually up between uh, 5:30, 6 a.m. Um, and then I like to start my day by reading, to be honest with you. So I tend to get up, I move to the couch. I have a rescue pit bull who is the light of my life. And so she's usually up with me. So we'll get on the couch together and I'll read and we'll snuggle and I'll rub her belly. And then from there, it's usually my husband will roll out of bed and someone's making some coffee. And we kind of go to our respective corners in the house and get to work. So it's not overly complicated. But I definitely spend a good hour just snuggling with the dog and reading and taking a moment for myself. So,
Yeah. Well, do you have any questions for me?
yeah, I'd love to hear, aside from your own book, which I'm excited to read, what's your favorite book? Or a
Oh,
couple of them. What are you reading now?
my favorite book, and I want to pick it back up again, and I want to, um, because of my neurological condition and because of schoolwork and because of everything else going on, primarily schoolwork, I can't pick up a book unless I have time. But my ultimate favorite book is either Tuesdays with Molly, which I haven't read
Oh my
yet,
God, I
although
love
I've
that book.
heard great things about it. And my ultimate favorite book, if you want a good chuckle, is A Walk in the Woods by Bill Bryson. And let's just say this guy goes on the Appalachian Trail and he's big as a house. So him going on the Appalachian Trail, and it's a really good book. It's an oldie but a goodie, and I read it in the 90s. I want to read it again, but right now I don't have time to pick up a book because I've been so busy between schoolwork and being a full-time content creator.
Tuesdays with Maury is probably my second favorite book of all time. So that's an amazing, amazing book. And I have to check out that other one you mentioned, A Walk in the Woods, it's
A Walk
called.
in the Woods.
Great. I'll check that one out.
And so, Jessica, where can people find you if they choose to do so?
Sure. It's pretty easy. I named my company after me, JessieCoanMarketing.com. So, or if you look up JessieCoan.com, Coan spelled Coan. Um, and if you Google me, I come up. It's pretty easy.
Yep. And you guys, I appreciate Jessie for coming on. As I said, I'll give you guys space and grace during this time of uncertainty. As long as you let me know I'm going to be late, I'll let Danielle know, my assistant, I'm going to be late. That's fine with us because I am just sitting here doing my other stuff, and I'll leave Uber Conference open. And so you guys don't have to worry about showing up at the exact time. And so let's just make this world a safer, happier place for you guys. And I'll catch you guys next week. Bye, you guys.
You just listened to Ask Win, the podcast. To become a guest in the show, visit our website at askwin.weebly.com or call 816-591-3399. Just look for Danielle. Connect with Win on Twitter at WinKellyCharles and like our Facebook page at Butterflies of Wisdom. You can also purchase Win's book through Amazon.com or get a copy of the audiobook through Audible. Ask Win, the podcast.